The following thoughts and opinions we're going to discuss regarding this album are strictly of our own personal interests. We are not professional music reviewers. We encourage respectful discussion and friendly banter in each episode, but we do not condone and will not tolerate bullying or belligerence. You are welcome to take what we say regarding the albums we rate with a grain of salt.
Well, hey there, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Rate the Record podcast, episode 66.
Yay!
Something
3 away from a joke.
Oh, and I already cracked that joke like 6 episodes ago. Or at least I got people prepared for it. And something parallel numbers edition. Look at that, same number, just like I do every 11 episodes. Haha, funny.
Yay! Hasn't died yet.
Your hosts who haven't somehow died yet are Kris and...
I'm Savannah.
You would be that one, wouldn't you? I hope if people ever actually meet us in person, they think my name is Kris and. It's kind of like the wrestling podcast, Steven Larson. It's like Steve here and Larson. So people call him Steve here and the other one's and Larson.
I hate that.
I adore it. Anyways, yes, we aren't Steven Larson. We are Kris and Savannah, and this is the Rate the Record podcast. So, hey, thank you very much for joining us today, hanging out and watching this episode with us, being part of that musical community that, we're trying to build brick by brick by brick by stick by stone. Find all the materials, build something.
Break my bones, etc. Right? Yes.
If we could make a musical community out of human bone, I'd be very okay with that. Most badass gothy kind of black metal thing you could do.
We listened to one episode and now we're dead.
After death grips, I just want to build everything out of bones and go insane. That was last week's episode.
Yeah, insane.
Yeah, go watch that one if you haven't seen it. Anyways, this one, and then we have the Record podcast, as already said, building that musical community, and you can help us build that musical community by just doing some very simple things, all free to do, like, rate, share, comment, subscribe, follow. Said that out of order, but that's okay. Regardless, you can do any one of those things, any combination of those things. That's fine, because that does help us build the musical community that we're trying to do, especially over in the audio world. Make sure you give us those 5-star ratings. Make sure you leave some reviews, so that way other people like you can find us as well. That'd be very much appreciated. Thank you very much if you have already, and thank you very much if you do now. And of course, YouTube, like, subscribe, and all that kind of stuff, and help us build our musical community. I don't know how many more times I'm going to say that.
Brick by brick and stone by stone and all the other stuff you already said.
Exactly. I'm just going to start this all over without cutting anything out and just repeat everything I just said. Well, welcome to the... No. Anyways, yeah, can you tell I haven't slept all that much in the last handful of days? I'll be okay, though.
Yeah, sure look like it. Okay.
But I mean, if you've been here before, you already know that this is pretty much the way things go around here. I don't know what you were anticipating, but hey, welcome back. Glad to have you here, and glad that you wanted to hang out for another episode. If you're new here, hey, welcome to the show. Glad you're here. Hope you enjoy your stay.
You jumped in at the right time. Our earlier episode sucked, and in the future, we're just going to get more loopy and crazy. So thank you.
Hey, there's at least 2 good episodes in our catalog, at least.
That's true. Okay, I don't want to say that we sucked. I would just say that I have noticed some broad and general improvements that I am satisfied with. So anything before episode 65 doesn't count.
Damn, Rush was in there, though, and that's our top album. Spoiler alert, I think. I don't know.
Okay, fine. 60 and above, or behind, whatever. Just cut this part out.
No, hell no. I'm keeping this in. This is all on you. Anyways, that's the kind of shit you can expect if you've never been here before. You can expect me slurring my words and Savannah not knowing what the hell she's talking about. But anyways, you probably don't know what else we do here on the show. The things that we actually try to accomplish on the show. So first off, Savannah and I will choose an album every single week. We'll either choose it completely at random. God, this is just turning fantastic today. Yeah, we'll chew an album completely. We'll just bite the hell out of it. Or if there's an album celebrating it like an anniversary, is it turning 20, 25, 30, 40, 50, 100? I don't think we do that. But anyways, we will do anniversary albums as well. Done plenty. We got more coming up. And we do requests. We do plenty of requests all the time. We've already done one for season 4 so far. We got another one coming up soon, so stick around for that. Regardless, we will choose an album. We'll discuss it front to back. We rank the songs, and then we rate the record. I wasn't waiting for you this time.
We rate the record.
That was the weirdest echo I've ever had in my life. Okay.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah, it was like delayed by 6 seconds, didn't follow my same pattern. What a strange and weird show this has turned out to be.
Awesome. I like to throw you curveballs. Also, you say that I don't know what I'm talking about. I clearly don't know what's going on. So if I miss any of these non-existent cues, whoops. It's all part of my charm.
Well, I think just off camera, I was talking about endearing character traits, and that's yours, and mine is burping, apparently. Like, well, I try to talk, and just my gas comes like, oh, sorry, that was weird. As a matter of fact, wait. There we go. It actually happened on cue. Fantastic.
I quit.
Exactly. Well, I'll just close up the call now. That's fine. And I can go take a nap or something like that.
Yeah, go sleep.
Do you want to support the show besides doing things for free? You can do it financially after saying all of this shit. Make sure you go to Ko-fi.com/rate the record if you want to help support the show financially. Join the RTR Club, $5 a month or a one-off donation, either or. It's completely optional, but you do get some bonus things. So make sure you go check out Ko-fi.com/rate the record. And that with the social media links, all the streaming links can be found at ratetherecord.ca. And also over there can be found the request album link, which is also down in the description, but also at ratetherecord.ca. You want us to do an album, by all means, please fill it out. We'll consider it. And hey, maybe we'll actually do it on the show.
Yay! It is up to Chris's discretion. I try and get some pop records on, and he says, no, this is not the show for pop records, you stupid imbecile. And then I cry. So, I mean, if it comes from a listener, he's more likely to do it.
Potentially.
I literally had to shake my mouse to see if you had muted me, and I'm really surprised you didn't.
Oh, trust me, I thought about it.
You're bobbing your head. I'm like, there is no way he's listening to me right now.
Oh, I wasn't listening to you. I was just kind of bobbing my head, but I didn't mute you at the very least.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I appreciate it.
Just because I don't listen to you doesn't mean other people don't. I don't know.
Fair enough.
Anyways, you are here for today's show, episode 66. And today, Savannah happened to choose an album because I chose last week's Death Grip, The Money Store. But this week, Savannah has chosen Michael Jackson with Thriller, one of the biggest albums of all time. Is it still the biggest album of all time?
I believe so. I did not look.
Says the person who wrote the description, which she's going to read right now to tell us a little bit about Michael Jackson and Thriller, but apparently not if it's still the biggest album in the world. I think it was surpassed. I can't remember. I think that was recent too.
Let me look.
That's fine. And I guess a little disclaimer too. We're only talking about Thriller today, 1982 circa era Michael Jackson. So we're not talking about any of the allegations. No, we're not going to talk about the skin color thing.
Hey, that was my disclaimer. You get out of here.
You were researching whether or not Thriller is big because you didn't finish your job.
Yeah. But I actually did this part, so let's just ignore the other part.
Button?
Yes. It is still the biggest album in the world.
Alrighty then.
Okay. Ignoring everything Kris said, I want to start this with a disclaimer. And if you know Michael Jackson, you know why. We will not be talking about his personal life. If it doesn't have anything to do with the album at hand, we will not be discussing it. Do not ask. I have another disclaimer. Second one. Okay. There is so much that could be said about Michael Jackson and this album, but this is a massively condensed version. Please do some of your own research to get the full scope. I do suggest Wikipedia and YouTube. There's definitely not a lack of resources for extra information.
Oh, there's tons of documentaries on him too.
Oh my God. And
both
just
positive and negative, doesn't really matter. But I think Thriller itself has a documentary. I mean,
it's difficult to write about Michael Jackson without sort of speaking on almost every point in his life, because it has been a turning point or pivotal in his career, not only up until Thriller, but past it. So I really just, here's Michael Jackson and then jump right into the album. So if you're looking for a more in-depth description and biography, apologies. There isn't a lot that can be said about. I just don't want to do a 3-hour podcast. That's really.
I was going to say you could do a huge section just on the accolades of the album alone.
Oh my God! Right. So if I forget anything, it is not for lack of trying. It is for saving time. And speaking of saving time, I'm going to get into it.
A lot of rambling.
Says you. Michael Jackson was a singer, songwriter, and dancer born in Gary, Indiana, the 8th of 10 children. His parents both played musical instruments in some capacity, and in 1964, at the age of 5 or 6 years old, Michael joined his father and 4 older siblings in the Jackson Brothers, later known as the Jackson 5, which became just the Jacksons when I believe there was no longer 5. Fast forward.
Like that's Club 7.
Massive fast forward, because I'm just going to jump right into the album now. Fast forward to 1982 and the release of Thriller, Michael's 6th studio album. I would have mentioned releases in the interim, but the first solo record was released while still in the Jacksons, and Michael was like 14 years old. So there's not a lot that can be said about those years, but like I said, don't want to do a 3-hour long podcast. Thriller was released on November 29th, 1982, and produced by Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson, recorded wholly in Los Angeles, California. The album has 9 tracks, and 7 of them were singles. The Girl Is Mine, Billie Jean, Beat It, Wanna Be Startin' Something, Human Nature, PYT, and Thriller were released all in that order. I am so surprised Thriller was released as the last single on the album.
In December, too. I read about that.
That baffled me. So this record came out at a pivotal time in music history because MTV only came into fruition 1 year prior. The music videos for Billie Jean, Beat It, and the title track Thriller were culturally important because it added a visual aspect to the music that was, for the most part, absent until MTV provided that platform. The album hit number 1 on many end-of-year charts in 1983 and 84. At the 2002 Billboard Music Awards, Thriller was awarded a special Billboard Award as recognition for spending more weeks at number 1 on the Billboard 200 than any other album in history. It is certified 3 times platinum in 3 times 3 times diamond. Canada, get your shit together. 3 times diamond in Canada, 15 times platinum in the UK, and 34 times platinum in the United States.
That's not a lot.
Every, quote, professional ranking source we have spoken about on this podcast gave Thriller 5 out of 5 stars.
Including our good friends at AllMusic.
Except Rolling Stone, who gave it 4 out of 5 stars.
Ooh, edgy. They wanted to stand out.
Right? So, like I said, I know I forgot stuff. I know it is super duper condensed, like a small grain of sand. Apologies. This album is just so much bigger than you can really wrap your mind around.
So I don't have the album on vinyl, but within my record collection, it's not my record, but it's here anyway. The 12-inch single for Thriller.
Oh, shit.
So I own it. Let's see here. And I mean, on the back, you see everything.
It looks loved.
It looks a little aged, and it does say demonstration not for sale on it. So
interesting.
It's like embossed into the back too.
That's cool.
Is it? Yeah, I think it's just Thriller. So what's side B then? Oh, Thriller instrumental. Cool. I would dig listening to just the instrumentals. Like Jackson sounds fine on it, but like, God, the instrumentals fantastic.
Dang, I can imagine that being used for not remixing, but like DJing and such.
Yeah, I would imagine so. And so, if you can afford the rights to sample and remix it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, then, with all of that said about Michael Jackson, or I mean, like the lack of said, because yeah, it's a pretty big story to tell.
Oh my God, like 35 times platinum. Like I don't even remember what constitutes platinum, but like 35 times that. And that
in the United States, yeah.
The record is 40 years old. So it's like,
yes, it is.
Shit.
In the United States, I believe it's 1 million sales. It was one-time platinum, I think. So that means it's like 34 million albums, I think, that it must have sold then. 35 million.
Dang.
I could be. Different countries have different rules for it, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's million. You know, it's like I really could have looked this up before actually recording, but you know what? That's fine. It's fine. It's all part of the Savannah doesn't know what's going on.
That's okay. I actually did some of my own research on Thriller itself, the actual song, and I'm going to mention the video too. So it's because like that's where my research kind of came in. We'll get there when we get there, though. It's time to actually start this damn thing, and it's not the song Thriller, but it is song number 1. Want to be starting something?
Yeah, this show. Something. What a bopping way to begin the album. There is no way that you can listen to this song and not move your body in some way. Like you can sit there and try, but then you end up sort of moving in your seat, sort of rotating what butt cheek you're sitting on. It's so good.
That's how you get the farts out.
Oh,
very, very, very quietly and calmly and stealth.
But it's so good.
I was just going to start off by saying with a blanket statement. This is obviously like, a Motown album and everything like that. And Motown is just notoriously known to have God tier production.
Yeah.
Like Motown albums, I don't know what it is and how they do it and like what's in the water they drink. But they know what's up when it comes to music and how to produce it properly. Like, you think fucking pop albums of the 90s sound pristine and clean? Like, nothing sounds cleaner and warmer and just like overall excellent in a mix than a Motown album. So Thriller definitely falls under that category, especially when you have someone like Quincy Jones helping to produce it. I know it was like Jackson and Quincy Jones producing the album. I know that much. Yeah. So when you have something like a legend like Quincy Jones, then it's going to sound good. So all good.
It's probably that dirty Michigan water that really gave them the, I don't know, maybe something in the brain.
Well, give me a belly full then. I could use that creativity.
I definitely mentioned the production. And like, I know that in other reviews, I'll do it here and there. With this one, I think maybe 3 or 4 songs, I'm like, the production sounds great. These instruments are great. The layering is great. Even this one, there's so much going on with the music and it is perfect. This song is pretty much just all hooks and the bass is funky. And I spelt it funky. So you really put that period on it.
Fun dash capital K-A-Y.
Yes.
Fun K.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, like, this could be said about like a few different songs in the album too that just like really kind of get you moving and everything like that. Like, yes, I was definitely white guy dancing while I was reviewing the record and everything like that. Oh, I mean, that was me when listening to Thriller, though. Like, I love that song, but we'll get there. This one, though, yeah, obviously a lot of fun. And there's like little things I like about it too. There's these like little vocal parts that go along with the opening guitars right at the beginning of the song. You just hear Jackson going along with the guitar and everything like that. Like, I never noticed it before, so I thought that was a cool little touch, just like a nice little layer to throw in there to emphasize the line. Yeah, vocal presentation, a lot of fun, which can be said across like a lot of the songs, but this one in particular was really interesting too. A lot of great energy. I like the little flamboyant moments that he kind of throws in at certain parts of the verse, like dun, 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 like kind of doing that. Always enjoyed that. Like, so yeah, it was fun to listen to and fun to get into. So yeah, I enjoyed that much.
Yeah, actually, just adding on to that point, I noted that the vocals are like restrained enough to fit the song. So it's like it kind of fits that box of what's appropriate for the song. But there's enough style to feel like a lot of it is improvised. And I like that a lot. It gives it sort of a carefree sort of like, I don't know, nonchalant feel rather than it feeling really rigid. So it adds to that movement that you want to do when you listen to it because it feels like he's having fun while I'm having fun too.
I'd be curious to know how many takes he had to do in the booth for like just one line, because I mean, this is the kind of production where like you might sing a verse or a line of a verse multiple times and you just break it the entire like lyrical section up into chunks. Like it could take you days to do like the vocals for one song. So like I imagine this was probably that style of production because it's like it feels like you gotta nail it. Like this is not something you get in one take. Like even if it did have an improvised flow to it, like obviously you can ad lib and just kind of like Shamona, he and all that shit like that he does. I mean, like obviously he doesn't write that into the lyrics. It's very much improvised, but like that's like of the moment in the energy. But you got to wonder how many takes he did while doing that where one sounded the best. So I mean, like I hope there is like a kind of a day by day documentary in the studio because I would love to see it.
That would be awesome. I don't really know. I don't know. I really want to talk more about like how the song sounds, but it's just it just made me feel so warm and I can only talk about how it made me feel. It made me feel so good. Although now that we're kind of getting to the criticism, I remember the song being so goddamn long.
6 minutes and 3 seconds, eh?
Yeah, I don't remember that. So now I figure there's 3 parts to the song. There's like the main part where it's kind of got the verses, you know, how the song starts. Then for some reason it's got the "you're a vegetable" part that I always don't understand, but whatever, it's funny. And then the
I had to read that up.
That "mama say, mama sa, mama kusa" part. So during the end, it's like the music sort of starts to fade quietly, and then it comes back in, and I audibly yelled because I was listening to it while I was like cleaning up my kitchen and stuff, and I'm just standing there going, how is this not over? Like it doesn't give you much more after that. The song eventually ends, but they must have cut quite a bit out of that to play it for a radio edit, because there's no way I remember it being that long.
Oh yeah, they probably cut out quite a few parts, and like especially the vegetable part.
Yeah.
You're a vegetable. You're a vegetable. You're a vegetable. You're a vegetable. What did you call me?
I just imagine Veggie Tales.
Well, I was reading up. Apparently, the song was written for LaToya Jackson because she was having some hard times, especially with like what people were saying about her at the time. Which I'm not so familiar with LaToya Jackson, so I don't know what kind of issues she was having, especially in the early 80s, late 70s. I don't know how old she would have been because, again, I don't know too much about her. I know she's like younger than Janet, is she not?
Oh, yeah. Janet is the youngest.
Oh, Janet's the youngest.
Yeah. Michael was born in 58.
Yes.
And Janet was born in 66.
Well, regardless,
I actually looked that up.
Oh, well, there you go. You got some sort of
unnecessary information.
Well, yeah, the song was written for LaToya. She was going through some bad times, and I think the song is supposed to be a reflection of that. And also, then, like towards the end, we don't do lyrical breakdowns, but I just happened to read up on this one because I was curious about the vegetable thing. That's why I read it.
Right.
And it just kind of led me to read the rest of the lyrics. I'm like, what else is wild about this song? And then, yeah, the end of the song's pretty uplifting, though, where it's just kind of like, you know, keep your head up and you keep on going, and you can do it. Blah, blah, blah. Like the whole song is just like, oh, you're down on yourself. Why are you so down? This is weird. You're so down on yourself. And then at the end, it's just like, keep your head up, be strong. And then mama say, mama sa, mama kakosa, or whatever, whatever it is. Mama say, mama sa, mama kosa. There you go.
Interesting.
I can say. I don't know what that means, but it probably translates to something.
Yep. I always just sing it, and I stand there and I stomp one foot and I clap while I'm singing it. And for that reason, 10 out of 10 danceable.
A 10 out of 10, she already spoiled the score.
Yep. I actually wrote a danceable score for each one of these songs.
Oh, there you go. A separate non-canon score.
Yeah. It's just for this album because like I said, I was listening to it while doing some housework. I found myself moving a lot more than I normally would. I felt it was only fair to give that some sort of accolade.
Fair enough. So then I guess we'll move on to song 2 since we talked about that one for a good. We talked about it for as long as the song actually is. We'll just move on now. So song Beautiful. Number 2, "Baby Me Mine."
So this sounds like I'd hear it at like a Kmart in 1993, and I fucking love it.
You probably did.
I had no idea that Michael Jackson released songs that sounded like this, but then again, like I'm not a diehard, so I've really only heard the singles and sort of, I guess, the more popular singles, because I'm sure there's some that I've missed. But I love the horns and synths. That sounds fantastic. It adds to
which feels like another blanket
shopping.
Statement.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
Yeah, I do like this one. It's not as energetic as the first song, but it's still there very clearly. Yeah, great groove to get the song kicked off and everything, like with the synth bass and like the quarter note beat and everything like that. Just everything kind of like layered on top of each other. Really nice. The vocal melody is fantastic, though. It's really playful and tension grabbing in this particular song, so I really like that. And the background layers are like really top notch, and that's kind of a blanket statement because I think the background vocals do a lot through the entire album. So this one was just kind of like the stronger noticeable part of it this early in the album for me. Like the last song kind of did it too, but this is where it kind of stood out for me.
I found that in some parts, a little closer to maybe the middle/end, I kind of lost the plot. I don't know if it was the vocal melody that I just personally wasn't really grasping onto, because I think maybe where I thought it was going to stop, it didn't, and it kept going. So it kind of felt like I was jumping in halfway through a line. So I didn't really kind of hear it properly. I listened to it a couple more times and it was still happening. So I don't know, maybe that's just my preference, I suppose. I didn't feel that the verse and the chorus seemed very separate, so I kind of felt a little lost, like wasn't sure really what part I was listening to. Didn't really hurt the score too bad, I guess, but I give it a 6 out of 10 danceable. Didn't really dance too much to this one. Maybe move my shoulders.
Whether or not you want to spoil it, do your danceable scores align with your actual scores? They do. So. You're just spoiling it as you go.
I don't actually think so.
I certainly hope not, because at that point, then you're just spoiling everything. I can literally tell you how many matches we're going to get by the time we even get to the rankings.
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
Good. I hope not. Yeah. Only some of them at the very least. The only other thing I had to say about this one is I notice a lot of the times when you hear guitars on this album, they're kind of like quietly in the background, just kind of like doing these like quiet little plucky riffs and everything like that, just going along. I do like that. And I like how it tends to add like a bit of a funky layer to some of these songs too. So, I mean, just the fact that it's kind of doing its own thing quietly, but it's something you can kind of pick up on the more you listen to it. I enjoy that. I like it. And so I always shout things out like that when there's something really cool going on in the background, doesn't get enough attention.
I say the same thing in a song coming up, so I'm glad that we're thinking the same thing, but they're all sort of blanket overarching statements. So
fair, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned it at some point too. Like I mentioned it again, I should say.
Yeah.
And we might even be talking about the same song at one point, so who knows?
Oh yeah.
Okay, we'll move on then. Song number 3. There's parentheses in this one too. The Girl Is Mine, parentheses, with Paul McCartney, although I don't include that as part of the song title.
I looked up the I guess song credits or whatever on Wikipedia, and I'm pretty sure that Michael wrote it on his own. But then on Spotify it gives credit to Paul McCartney as well. So.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me. Like it's like, let's bring on someone else to do a duet with. Who else is a big pop star? Oh, Paul McCartney of the Beatles. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I know that they did Say because I've listened to Paul McCartney's greatest hits. But I've actually never heard this collab song before. So this was my first time. I would take an instrumental version of this song any day.
Maybe.
Again, it sounds like I'm grocery shopping in the early 90s. I fucking love it. It's so nostalgic to me.
Fucking liminal spaces of the 90s, and just like you in an empty shopping center with this instrumental playing in the background.
I love it. Oh my God, I love it. I will watch YouTube videos like that.
Like the liminal space videos?
Oh my God, I didn't know it was called that. I'm looking that up now.
Liminal spaces, it goes two ways. There's like horror themed that make it kind of creepy, but then there's just like a lot of it's like pictures of empty malls and just kind of like it's this weird nostalgic but strange looking thing, but like it's nothing necessarily scary. It's just like that's strange, but it's like it's also very aesthetically pleasing to a lot of people, like my girlfriend being one of them. She adores that stuff.
Oh my God,
you would probably also like the micro genre called mall soft, which is literally like that kind of like soft jazzy like music from like the 80s playing over a mall speaker in the distance, and like you can just watch YouTube videos that are like hours long that just playing that with like a nice aesthetic of an empty mall.
Oh my God, I've YouTubed videos of like grocery store music in the 70s. Like that's why I like soft rock and yacht rock and stuff like that. Oh my God, it is just so pleasing. It tickles that part of my brain that ASMR should but doesn't.
It's its own type of ASMR at this point.
Oh, I love it so much.
But yes, The Girl Is Mine. Having two of the biggest pop stars in the world fighting over you. What kind of woman are you that you've landed yourself in this position?
Oh my God.
Who would you go with if they were fighting over you and you had to pick one? Who are you going to pick?
If I had to pick
1982 Michael Jackson or 1982 Paul McCartney?
Oh God. I don't know. That's really hard to say because Paul McCartney was doing his solo thing after being in a group. So clearly, he kind of has his his mind sort of set on where he wants to go solo. But Michael Jackson was in the same position. He's gone solo from a group.
I was talking about romantically though, because they're both chasing this girl romantically.
No, I don't want to sleep with either of them. I want their money.
You don't have to sleep with them. You can literally just go on a date with them. They'll spend all the money on you.
Paul McCartney, because he has an English accent.
And also, he seemed like a genuinely good man. Like the whole thing with Linda and everything like that before she passed away. Like he seemed like a swell stand-up dude. So I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know. Out of him and John Lennon, he seemed like less of a jerk. So I'd go with him.
I mean, John Lennon was abusive. So
yeah, and I don't know. Stupid round glasses made him look stupid.
He died 2 years before this album came out. Anyways, yeah, Girl's Mine.
I don't know where we're going with that.
I don't mind picking on John Lennon. He wasn't a wonderful man. Anyways, this song is a great time for a come down. Speaking of backing off subjects.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously it's a bit more of a ballady, kind of a buttery feel to it and everything like that. The instrumentation's really smooth and flows really nicely. It's not quite a ballad, but still easy on the ears. Well, there's that burp again.
Oh my God.
As nice as it all is, I think it doesn't stick as well for me though.
Yeah.
And the ending is really corny, in my opinion. Like when they're literally vocally arguing with each other, it's like, I don't know, she's coming with me. Oh, I don't know, Michael. I think you're a little crazy about it. It's like, just shut up. If I was the girl, I'd be halfway down the street. I'd be gone.
Yeah, I said it sounds so cheesy. It makes me smile, but I am not a fan.
Neither am I. I thought it was kind of goofy. I mean, the whole concept's a little goofy, and just she's clear. The story leads me to believe she's clearly leading them both on because they're both doing these big, extravagant things for her. Yeah. And now it's just oh, she's mine. No, she's mine. Mine. No, she loved me. She loved me. Woo.
Is that how Brandy and Monica came to The Boy Is Mine?
I thought of that exact thing while writing this review. I just
right?
Maybe with some sort of weird double standard, the guy feels more lucky to be in the middle of two girls arguing over him. But I can imagine the girl just being I don't want to be here.
Yeah, please leave me alone.
Yeah, and I mean, Brandy and Monica being the biggest stars of R&B by the time that song came out. So I mean, you got these megastars singing this song about mine, gimme, whatever.
Yeah,
me first in the gimmes. What?
We're not doing them. I only a couple more notes on my end. I cringe every time I hear the word doggone.
Yeah, I hate it.
Just say goddamn for Christ's sake.
It's not family friendly. You can't do that. I think I would have forgiven gosh darn. I think I would have even gone with that.
Doggone.
What the fuck is doggone even mean anyways?
Oh my God, I hate it so much. I thought that it might be a pig Latin for goddamn, but I hate it so much. But this song gets a 3 out of 10 danceable, head bobbing at most.
Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Because listening to it a second time while I was writing these scores, trying to dance to it, and I go, nope, just the head bobbing. That's all I get. Doesn't engage my core.
I just keep thinking of them cutting each other off in the songs. She's mine. No, she's mine.
And
mine,
stepping in front of each other as they're singing.
You can, and then the audio listeners are gonna love this. You can hear them in the studio. It's mine. No, mine. You just hear the microphone being pushed all over the place.
And then someone in the back, the control room, yelling, "Michael!"
Yeah, that's Quincy Jones. You motherfuckers clean it up in there, Jesus. I can't remember what Quincy Jones sounds like, but I don't want to try any ebonics here. I'm not fucking Quentin Tarantino.
This is the
So if I decide to cut back in right now, we just cut out some Quentin Tarantino talk that can be found on Ko-fi, or if I leave it in the podcast, who knows? We'll see what happens when I'm editing. We'll see how I feel. Maybe there's a whole chunk missing, but anyways.
Yes.
Time to move on to the title track, and I know it's not the most iconic song on the album, apparently, but to me it is. Number 4, Thriller. Hell yeah.
I'm so surprised that this isn't the first track on either side. I would have assumed that maybe that you'd flip over to side B, bam, first song, last song, what the fuck is this? It seems odd.
Yeah, I guess so. Especially because it's the only song of its type on the album too. Like it's horror themed and like it feels like it goes all out in production as compared to any other song on this album. Like this one feels like it probably took the longest in every way, and like I totally dig it. But just I guess it feels a little weird at the end of side A. And it's even weirder that Beat It follows this. So you have everything in Thriller, and then immediately you go into two, and fucking Beat It. I'm just like, what?
Very strange. But either way, I really enjoyed the little snippet right before the song actually kicked in. Like I could just take that snippet and then turn it into the grocery store song and just listen to that. I don't know. There's so much on this album, like just as a whole, that is just, it's nostalgic because like you've heard most of these songs before. They're super crazy, ultra famous, but there's always that little feeling of like personal nostalgia that reminds you of this small little minute thing in your past or as a child. And it might not be directly related to the song itself or the artist, but it has just enough of those qualities to bring that nostalgia out. And I feel like that's why this album and these songs are so successful, because it like touches that spot, scratches that itch.
Well, and this song has a particular place for me of like in nostalgia as well, and as I'm sure it does for a lot of people, because I mean, like the video is iconic. Like, do you remember the first time you ever saw the video? Like, how'd you feel?
Oh God, I think I was a kid and I was scared. But I was scared of anything that wasn't just like Spice Girls and Rainbows. But I don't know. It was one of those like, this is different, but I refuse to turn it off things,
And also, I think for the video too, they got the director of American Werewolf in London, which they won awards in that movie for like the werewolf changing scene. I can't think of the word. I'm thinking of like costume or whatever it is.
Oh, like makeup and stuff.
Yeah, and just how realistic it looked while he was changing. Like even to today's standards, that holds up really well. They use the exact same stuff in the Thriller video too. So I mean, like that's really cool. And the whole thing was directed by that guy. That's really awesome. I remember the first time I ever saw this video. I think it was like 7 years old. Okay. Maybe a little younger, and depending on who in the audience who might be listening, if you're aware of the band Straight Reads the Line, they're a hardcore band out of Ontario. I used to, when I was a kid, I was really good friends with Josh McKenzie, who was the guitarist. He unfortunately passed away at the age of 18, though. But I used to live like next to his grandparents essentially, and so that's how we met. And I remember one time being down in his grandparents' basement. He had like Super Nintendo down there and like toys and everything like that. That's where we'd play. And this video came on, and we're watching it. And I don't know if he was just trying to tough it out, but I was just like, I have to go to the bathroom. And then like I leave the room because I was so scared I couldn't look at the fucking TV.
Come back when you hear it's over.
More or less, actually. Yeah, just like, I really had to go.
Aww.
He stayed out there the entire time. He championed his way through it.
What a trooper.
Yeah, exactly. So good time. There's my nostalgic little story for Thriller. Just him as a werewolf, just doing this in front of the camera, and then like all the zombie sounds. I just recently watched the video again in 4K, like on YouTube, and it just like it takes away from the mystique of the VHS quality and how everything looks grainier and darker, which makes it scarier. In the 4K, everything's like a little brighter and cleaner. You can see the costumes a little more. It's just like, I like the old grainy shit better.
Yeah, it's like watching an old movie in 4K. It feels like you're behind the camera watching people act, and it kind of takes away that suspension of disbelief, It's just sort of, that's why for a long time, if you're new here, I enjoy professional wrestling. Hit me up. I need some more friends. And like when they started going to like HD and stuff like this, I'm like, yeah, it's not the same. You see too much. You see every imperfection, and you kind of snap out of that sort of fantasy world so much faster, and it just kind of ruins it for you after a little bit.
See, these are the tangents I want to use for Kofi, because there's actually there's like a story I can tell about that too, but we got to stay on track. We are like, every time we do a short album, we go off the rails with everything. Well, not even intentionally.
Well, and it's funny because you're probably like, oh my God, let me go to bed. And I'm like, I am wide awake.
Oh,
Let's
I'll
just
be up
talk
until
forever.
1:30. I'll be up
Yeah.
until 1:30. It's like what, like 9 o'clock right now as we're recording
Yeah.
this on the day we're recording this. I'll be up for another 4 hours, whether my body likes it or not.
Gross.
Exactly. So more about Thriller, not just the video this time. Although I do have another fact about the video coming up soon. The bass line is so simple, but it's just absolutely the best. I love it. Like, so iconic. Do 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 do.
Yeah. And the guitar's doing some funky things with it. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I was gonna say the guitars and synths in the background are just like the perfect touches to go along with it. So everything is so well layered in this song. It's amazing. I love it so much. I do love how the lyrics are like dark and horror themed, but it's just so super upbeat and danceable. So I mean, like, it's kind of like the mix of both worlds. But again, as I said, I said a little earlier, this song is like the only type of its kind on this album where it's like, yeah, that's the horror theme stuff. Everything else is like love. Although there's love in this one too, technically at some points.
Mhm.
You go, we can cuddle close together. Like, so I mean, there's some sort of romantic angle in there.
I never knew the lyrics. I didn't know that he
How
said
the hell
that.
have you heard the song this long and you don't even know the lyrics?
Something something after midnight. Thriller. That's really all I know. That, yeah, I don't know. I don't really look into it.
So yeah, maybe there's like something about watching horror movies. I don't know, but yeah, there's something about cuddling up close together. And I'll keep you in my arms, something like that. So yeah,
that's less scary. Well, I guess it really depends whether you want to really get it on, if it's scary or not. You mentioning danceable. Yes, 10 out of 10 danceable, even if you're just sidestepping and clapping. That's literally all I was doing in front of my sink, was listening to it and just like stepping one side, clapping. I felt like I was line dancing, but it was awesome. But yeah, the vocals seem to have like a dark rasp to them, but like not too much, just a little bit. And it kind of fits the theme. And unlike the Girl Is Mine, the spoken word part at the end definitely fits the song. It is appropriate. It's good. The laughter at the end to this day still weirds me out. Not in a, why did they put that there, but in a, no, that's creepy. Stop laughing.
well, I mean, that's Vincent Price for you.
Yeah,
what do you
it makes me
expect?
so uncomfortable.
Vincent Price, absolute horror icon. Like,
Yeah.
even to this day, he's been dead for like 30 years or something like that, and like he's still one of the biggest names you can think of in the horror industry.
Is he the guy with the mustache?
Yes.
Okay.
And the very last movie he was ever in was Edward Scissorhands.
Oh.
He played Edward's creator, who actually dies in that movie. Like, he just kind of collapses, and then shortly after the movie came out, he died.
Oh shit.
How unfortunate. He died of like cancer. I can't remember what kind, but he had a bunch of stuff wrong with him at the end of his life.
Dang.
But yeah, Vincent Price absolutely spitting bars at the end there. I like, if you actually look it up on YouTube, it's called Vincent Price Thriller Rap. I'm like, it's not a rap.
Oh my God.
It's like pure spoken horror poetry. That's it. The instrumentals in that section are just amazing, which now that I have the Thriller 12-inch single behind me, I could listen to it if I damn well want to.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, they're already fantastic, but then, God, you have the organs that just bring life or death, if you want to bring it to the theme of the song. It brings everything to this song. Those organs are fantastic. Super scary shit.
Yes, I agree.
I thought you were going to say something about that because you were like laughing about it there, like a memory just popped up.
No, I had to mute my mic because I just burped incredibly loud. But I laughed because I'm like, ha ha ha, I would beat Kris out of the water.
This is where if I decide to cut some stuff out, we're going to cut back in. It's going to sound weird that we cut it again. We're going off on the weirdest fucking tangents. Yeah. This will end up on Ko-fi though, regardless.
Just don't bring attention to it. Just be like, just have it cut back in at like a very strange spot, so it's very obvious.
I mean, I've tried doing that before, but it is too strange. I can't do it. But anyways, I have one more note about Thriller, aside from Vincent Price spitting absolute fire there. So I had to bring this up because I thought this was so interesting. I'm like, how much could they have possibly paid to have Vincent Price on the album? Because, like, again, even by 82, he was a huge horror icon. So like, he's not going to be a cheap guy.
$20,000.
I was gonna say I know the answer. As a matter of fact, I have a little tidbit about it.
I guessed.
He was given a choice between $20,000 or percentage of album sales.
I guessed. Oh, okay.
And he chose $20,000 instead of percentage of the album
His
sales.
estate could have made so much
I said the
money.
same thing when I read that.
Right? But
I'm sitting there like, oh no, my man got ripped off. And so that equates to today's, with inflation, just over $60,000 today for his role in this album for like a minute of quote unquote rapping. And considering at the time the album's budget was $750,000, which is like a little over $1 million, like 1.3 million, I think. So, damn, oh man, that sucks.
But you don't know where it's going to go, like when it happens, especially when you're making an album like this, where it's like, oh, we're going to try all this new stuff that maybe hasn't been done before, or at least to this scope. And then, 40 years later, you're like, wow, I could have made $1 billion for, generational wealth from that one thing.
Yeah, but like
one thing.
Didn't Off the Wall do well as well, like for Michael Jackson's album sales? Because you look at that, and then like Vincent Price's agent could have been like, okay, tell you what, like, we're gonna ask for a certain percentage cut and maybe something a little up front, just to kind of like even the deal a bit. Because regardless, I think no matter what, the album sales would have went over $20,000, and so you would have made some money.
Yeah, I guess a little bit of research would have probably helped. Done him a little good.
Yeah, they call him up directly on his weird like rotary phone. He's like, "Hello, you've reached the phone of Vincent Price. I will do cameos for $20,000." I'm like, we don't even have to ask. He just said it.
Yeah. They're like, okay, and then he hangs up. He's like, shit.
Who was that? Who was I just talking to?
Oh my god! I keep knocking my desk. Sorry for anyone watching on video. Sheesh.
It's all good. Or maybe they'll just tell you to beat it.
Oh, I'm just too excited about this, I guess.
Song number 5, side B, Beat It.
Okay, so like you have said about the whole album, and I've alluded to, the production on this sounds great. I love the layers. So many layers. I never noticed the background vocals like effects beyond what's obvious. So it's kind of like I can't really recreate it because I don't remember it specifically, but I know it's some like vocal interjections and stuff like that. I never really heard that before, but I've never really paid too much attention to it. And I know I've said before, I've heard things in songs I never heard before just because I'm actually paying attention to it. But beyond that, Weird Al has really put his mark on me and my ability to fucking listen to parodied songs. It is so hard to listen to the original without singing the parody. Oh my lord.
Very first note. I can't honestly I can only ever think of Weird Al when it comes to this track.
Right?
Have some more chicken, have some more pie. It doesn't matter if it's boiled or fried, just eat it. Of course I know that.
Oh my god, or Madonna's like a surgeon. Good times.
Al's heyday.
Good times. Oh, hell yeah.
The guitar riff is great too. I really like it. Not just the Eddie Van Halen solo coming up either. I don't just like the actual guitar riff. It's actually super cool. It's really memorable, fun little riff. I like it. And also probably one of Jackson's more intense performances on the album. Like a lot of the song just feels like it's belted out.
Oh yeah,
like, there's a lot of like at least other parts, like other songs, he's like got kind of like normal calm vocals, and then occasionally just spit something out. This whole song is just like ah.
Oh yeah, it's like you didn't listen to me the first time. You're gonna listen to me now.
Now beat it.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And I did mention, it's pretty well known that Eddie Van Halen performed the solo on this track, and it's one of those things that you are told or you read about, but then when you listen to it, you're like, yeah, whatever. But I feel like the more that I listen to a varied amount of music, I can kind of discern certain guitar, and it's mostly with guitar styles and tone. Like there was, I'll keep the story short, but Dream Theater, it's pretty much like an old lineup without the singer. They did a like instrumental album, and someone at work was just passively listening to it. And I don't know if they knew what they were listening to, but I walked by and I was like, are you listening to? And then they look and I'm like, sounds like Dream Theater. And then they read it and I was like, I fucking knew it, only because I recognized the guitar tone. So this time listening to Beat It, I could definitely tell that it was Eddie Van Halen, only from the amount that I've actually listened to him. And then I patted myself on the back for, I was proud of myself for actually learning something.
Now, I'm not super like knowledgeable on my Van Halen discography. Was this before or after the Eruption solo? Like this song, this album.
Was that not on 1984? Oh, look.
What did I just tell you? I'm not familiar.
No. That was to me. That was to myself. That was to myself.
Loud. Because I know like
oh
that
no, it was after.
Because I was gonna say because like Eruption kind of put Eddie on the map. Like he was already like people already thought he was a great guitarist by then, but Eruption was kind of like blew everyone's fucking heads off.
That was after. That was on their first album released in 1978.
Oh, okay. So like then people are already familiar with that, and that's why everyone kind of already loved it.
Yeah, I had no idea that Van Halen released anything in the 70s. I thought it was just straight up 80s. So I learned something new right then.
Kind of how I felt about Judas Priest when I heard their first album. Like, this sounds weird.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they weren't.
I've never heard it.
They weren't as like heavy metal in the 70s as compared to the 80s. A little lighter.
Interesting. I'll look that up.
Anyways, that's Judas Priest.
Yes.
This is Michael Jackson.
This is Van Halen.
Apparently so.
Yep. I got nothing. I have my danceable score, but I want to say it after you're finished.
I really only have one left, and I was waiting for you to say something. Overall, the song has a great hook and chorus. Obviously, it's a super fun track, but maybe it's because I'm like a little tired of how often this song appears in pop culture.
Yeah,
that just I don't hate the song by any stretch, but just it's one of those things like I don't really want to listen to Beat It, like. Whatever. It's kind of like the Hotel California thing. I like it, but just I don't want to hear it anymore.
Fair. 8 out of 10 danceable. That's all. 8 out of 10.
You wanted to save that? Like I thought you had like a story to go with it.
No, it has to go at the end. It's like watching a gymnast. You don't give the score before they're finished their routine.
Hey, if they nail one particular trick, you just give them a 10 out of 10 right away.
You did something illegal. 10 out of 10.
Dig it. All right, so I guess we'll just move on. That song number 6, the other huge single with 1.3 billion streams on fucking Spotify, Billie Jean.
Oh my god. So I'm trying right now to like remember the song, but I just have Beat It stuck in my head. But one of my notes is just says, I imagine instead of a synth in the intro, it's a giant pan flute.
Oh, the
yeah, that. Okay, there we go. That's the song.
How do you forget Billie Jean?
Because I have the solo from Beat It in my head right now. But yeah, I just imagine instead of synths, it's a giant pan flute. And then I laughed for a while. And then I thought that I love the presence of a pre-chorus. The song sounds like it has an obvious direction. The last couple of songs, or like side A, didn't really feel like it had like a pre-chorus or anything like a, hey, get ready for this. It just went from verse straight to chorus. So it is nice to kind of have that little launching pad into the chorus, and it's like super duper effective.
Yeah, it is. And I guess there wasn't really much of a transition point early on the album. I guess I never really thought about that, but yeah, this one obviously has a very noticeable pre-chorus to it. Definitely. And obviously the super iconic bass line everyone loves. Do 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 do. A lot of fun to check out. Love it all the time. And I feel like this song is carried very heavily on the background vocal layers of this song, like more so than any other song so far on the album. There's just something about the background vocals in this one, just like that's done so well, sprinkled in at the right times, the right harmonies, the right type of mixing. Like sometimes it's far off into one speaker, sometimes it's right in the center, and sometimes it's kind of like off to the left a little bit. Just, I don't know, really, really good choices all around on this one.
Yeah, there's just so many layers that I'd never heard or noticed before. And I really like the catchy hooks and the guitar. Again, I feel like having the electric guitar in this, like I haven't really listened to any sort of R&B, Motown, anything of like like this. But it does feel like it sort of transcends genres along with Beat It, where you can write it and perform it in a certain way, but you can always sort of transplant that, like, where what kind of has a little bit of rock in it. Oh, it kind of has a little bit of this in it, a little bit of that in it. And I feel like that, along with everything else, definitely adds to its success and its repeated enjoyability, because it reaches out to so many more people than maybe what you initially thought when you released it the first time.
Yeah, this album does a lot of that, but like I was fortunate. I don't want to say that because that sounds like I'm being like very pretentious. I was gonna say I'm fortunate enough to be the kind of person. Like, there's many people out there like this too, where like you can say that you're like a really big fan of like one particular type of genre or something like that. Like you're huge into rock music, you love it, but then like you'll veer off every once in a while on some sort of like pop album that you really like or something along the lines of that. Like you listen to fucking Dream Theater and Taylor Swift. There you go.
Yeah, there's I love them both.
And I mean, like, I actually own a copy of Off the Wall. Ooh. Like I like that album. I dig it. Like I think that album's a lot of fun, and that just the title track alone is fantastic. I'm surprised I don't know Thriller, to be honest. I would.
Yeah.
Just for Thriller alone, but I have the 12-inch single, so at the very least, I got the best song.
Yeah, I like that.
But yeah, like Billie Jean's that song too that kind of feels like it transcends. Although this one feels a little more into the pop R&B lane, I guess, but it doesn't really matter. It's still good. It's a super catchy song overall. But to be kind of honest, it never stuck with me as much as some of the others do. Like I get how it's catchy, but just like I don't know, it doesn't get stuck in my head though. Like I'll always remember it, but just I'm never like earworming this song at all, so it doesn't catch me as much as some of the others have.
I find with this song, there's little bits and pieces of it for me that are an earworm, but it's never the major parts that it should be. Like right now that I'm sort of thinking about it, I hear that clean guitar and then him going woo, and then the clean guitar and him yelling woo again, and I could just play that over in my head because just that guitar sound, it just sounds so good in here. It's not overblown, it's not obnoxious, it's just clean and
clean, plucky, funky guitar.
And I really, really like it. And the strings, which I assume are programmed,
synths and everything like that.
Very, very nice addition. 7 out of 10 danceable, primarily upper body.
I think the most like earwormy thing in this song is the one thing I always think about is the very sad he's that he does. It's like he. Just like it's so
it gets worse.
It feels like lifeless and just like I don't know. It feels like he's kind of sad while he's doing it. So I'm always just imagining him just like sitting on a park bench alone going.
It's like the sad Keanu meme.
Yeah, except he's he.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on now to song number 7, Human Nature by Madonna.
Oh God, I actually don't mind that song, but that is definitely not the one that I listen to.
Your bitch, don't hang your shit on me. No, that's a very different song.
Yeah, definitely different song. This one is by Michael Jackson, and I find that this one is a great placement on the album. It is a nice come down from the intensity of the last 3 tracks. Like none of them let up. So by the time you're done with 15 minutes of like sort of, I don't want to say high energy because like they're all sort of moderate energy, but I'd say like just pretty much intense. This is like super welcome and really nice. I really like how smooth his voice is, and the slower tempo lends itself well to the more sort of melodic and purposeful vocals.
What's your danceability score?
8 out of 10 danceability, but only slow dancing or at a wedding.
I just imagine like you said you tend to clean a lot while listening to the albums. Like you're in the kitchen like doing dishes or something like that, and then just like you're kind of listening to swing slowly, and then you put your arms on like your biceps like this, and you're just like
seeing my own face.
You're just kind of like imagining a warm moment, but then you realize you're in the kitchen, like one of those like fucking Swiffer commercials.
Exactly. So imagine me with a broom, and I was dancing like I'm singing into the broom, and I'm sort of dancing like a worm moves on the ground. That's how I was dancing.
I'm just imagining you on the ground squirming, and then your partner comes in screaming because he thinks there's something wrong. She's doing that squirming thing again. What do you mean again?
You're recording tonight, aren't you? Yes.
Maybe. But I also agree this is a great time for a come down. Although Billie Jean's not super intense or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like that was on the way down.
Yeah.
Like, especially with Beat It being probably the most intense song on the album. Just because like the guitars and everything and just the belted up performance. So Billie Jean was coming down, Human Nature brought it down. So yeah, good placement for it. And I kind of like the progression of that. I do like the quieter guitar layers in the background, and they're kind of the unsung hero of the track, in my opinion. As I've mentioned before, how like the quieter things that kind of like are doing something important, but you can't really hear it. Once again, in this song, that's what it's doing. I love it. And there's like also, it sounds really good on top of like the nice groovy, like, it's a nice groove on all like the very airy synths.
Oh my God, so airy.
Happening all over this track. So just to have those like kind of like quieter guitar layers in the background, kind of adding to that, just a little more texture to the sound, a little more to enjoy for it. So I do like that. I had to write this one down specifically. Lyrics that I couldn't escape from here. Apparently this woman couldn't either. She knows I'm watching. She likes the way I stare. Huge incel energy on those lyrics.
Ew, that's weird. See, I'm so glad that I don't look up the lyrics.
I happened to hear it, and that's another like the vegetable thing. I had to look it up. I'm like, did I hear that right? Yeah, she knows I'm watching. She likes the way I stare. Yeah, it said any woman ever.
Yeah, like, but she might have a kink, so
yeah, but you
might be like being the receiving end of a voyeur.
Yeah, but usually that comes with this under the same umbrella of like consensual non-consent.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of like, people have the like those like abuse fantasies, but it's like you've talked this over with your partner. Do this because I like this, but here's the safety word. Whereas like this is just like, I imagine him like on a subway
outside your window.
I imagine him like on a subway or something like that, and she sees the woman sitting there. He's just like standing there like staring at her like dead-eyed, and she's just like noticing, and he thinks that she's like smiling about it, but she's actually got one of those people who like does nervous laughter.
Yeah.
So it's like you smile because like because you're like you're actually really scared.
He's not trying to hide himself. He's like full view, like obvious.
Eyes wide open.
I fucking hope that does not ruin this song. I like this song. It's beautiful.
But apparently it's just human nature, so don't worry about it.
Ew, God, I don't want to look up the lyrics to the song. I like how 70s soft rock it sounds. I mean,
considering it just left the 70s, then yeah, it makes sense.
I was going to say, just going right back to the positives. It does feel moderately timeless because like I knew of this song, I've heard it before, but never in a million years would I have guessed what era or album it belonged on or in, or I thought that maybe this was early 90s sort of Michael Jackson's Black or White sort of, I don't know, more uplifting poppier, I don't know, 1991, 92 stuff. Fuck, I had no idea this was on this album. It sounds so much more modern than it should.
Maybe, I guess. I don't know. I see where you're coming from. At the same time, like I feel like it's stuck in its era. I can tell it's like somewhere in the 80s at the very least.
Yeah, maybe 89. Definitely not 82.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me though. Maybe you're far more familiar with that type of sound than I am, even though I don't know, I feel like I have some experience with it.
Yeah.
Overall though, I feel like this is kind of like a bit of a sleeper ballad. I mean, nothing really stuck out to me while listening to it, so this one was probably the least exciting song on the album to me. I mean, saying that about a ballad, but I mean, like even the ballads can feel good and like you can get something out of it. This just kind of gave me nothing, which again, you're always going to have songs like this on albums, like especially in an album full of like absolute fucking bangers. I mean, like you're going to have one slog, and to me, this is it.
Yeah. Well, I understand that. I did like the music and like the vocalizations at the end. They fill me with such joy. But again, I could say that about, 3-4 songs earlier in the album. So just he's really good at those interjections and just sort of using his voice as a straight up instrument rather than, hey, this is my voice, I'm saying this here. He's like, I'm going to mimic this, or I'll pretend this. And sounds great.
Well, and that's why these albums took so long to write, because you have to get those vocal melodies and just make them interesting.
Fuck yeah.
All right, so the penultimate song of the track, album, I should say, song number 8, PYT, Pretty Young Thing.
And we're back to the upbeat pop. We didn't take much of a break, but we are back.
The last one of the album, though.
Yes, it is sandwiched between two slower ones. I do know that it is obviously only a 9-track album, but I'm just not ready for it to end. It doesn't sound like it's almost over. Like, it doesn't give me that feeling. It doesn't say, hey, we're almost done the album. This maybe says there's 5 more songs after this.
Human nature gave me that thought. It's like we're starting to come down towards the end of the album. So I can accept this. This reminds me a lot of when we did our first episode with Pearl Jam, and how like there were some like quieter songs towards the end of the album, and then there was like I think there was like Porch or something like that, like the second last song that was like super intense, and then there was like one last song. So I'm okay if the energy picks back up just towards the end, because it's kind of like its last hurrah before finally giving out, and like that's so I think the last 3 songs of this album, I can feel the ender for it.
Yeah. Maybe it was just a wishful thinking of please don't be over yet.
You won't.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would be fine with it. There's nothing about this song, or no, there's something that completely changes the definition. There's something about this song that feels different. Now, I don't know if it was written by someone else or if it was written like, I don't know. There's just something about this song that feels different in relation to the ones that came before it. It has a different vibe. I don't know.
I wonder if this song was one of the first written for the album, because I know The Girl Is Mine was the final song written for the album.
Oh, shit.
I read that on Wikipedia at the very least. I don't know the order of which the songs were written. Obviously, they can be written in different order from how they appear on the album. So it's very possible this was like one of the earlier tracks that they came in with.
Okay, maybe.
I can't confirm that. I'm pretty sure someone else could correct me on that. Some like Michael Jackson historian.
Yes, please do. Yeah.
Correct us on everything that we've gotten wrong today, please.
Oh my God. Do we really even have a text box that big? Yeah. I have a couple more, but I'll let you go first, please.
I don't have a lot to say for this song, because it is like another great energetic song, but like again, we're coming to the end, and so it's hard to. It's not that it's hard to come up with anything to say, but it's just kind of like I'm enjoying myself. So what do you want me to say? I like the song part about the song again, everything like that. I do like the chorus of this song, though. I thought it was a lot of fun. It's not as layered as the previous tracks, but it's still fun and impactful. And I just like the spelling of certain things, like PYT, Pretty Young Thing, something TLC.
TLC.
Yeah. So like I like how they kind of incorporated that. Like that's kind of clever. I do enjoy that. This is a really fun mix of like funk and disco all over the song. Very danceable, very energetic. The only other note I have. My God, do I hate the chipmunk vocals towards the end of the song. Like, really, stop. Hard stop. It's pointless. Adds nothing of value or novelty, and it sounds terrible. Stop. That's written verbatim, by the way.
I don't know if it's the same part, but I have 2 notes that says the backing vocals in the chorus could be turned down a little, and unsure about that instrumental bit just past halfway. So
neither of that was that, because like this came at the very end of the song. It was like it kind of popped in every once in a while, like over the course of like 30 seconds. And I don't know why they did it. It does nothing for the song. And I even had to look up, because I know there was like the Chipmunks fucking covered Beat It or something like that, like a little later on. And I think Michael Jackson made an appearance in an Alvin and the Chipmunks episode 1989. I think I Googled that and it's correct. But so like this came prior to all that chipmunk shit. So the fact that it was here pissed me off. I'm like, tell me this gave him the idea to do the collaboration.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to have to listen to that again, because I must have glossed right over it. I don't recall that at all.
It's brief, but it's enough that it stood out to me because it was so different from everything else I had just heard in the song.
Pulled you out of it, right?
It's just like, it's very rare that you can do that in a song and it makes sense to me. Like, I get people do it for like artistic choices and like whatever the hell they want to do, but very rarely does doing like major vocal alterations sit well with me. But I don't know.
Yeah,
it's just me.
I get that. I don't think I like this song as much as I thought that I used to. I always recognized the title and I was like, oh yeah, I like that song. But listening to it, I'm like, I think maybe there's other songs of his that I like better. But I do still think that the song is a 9 out of 10 danceable.
Is that because you don't like being referred to as a pretty young thing?
I mean, I do find that weird. But I don't know. I've never been referred to as a thing, so I mean, maybe if someone did, then I'd be able to gauge how much I enjoy that. But
A thing, an object of sorts.
Yeah. Just don't leave comments under this video saying, "Hey, Kris, I like your podcast with that thing," because that is not appropriate.
You literally just opened the door and invited everyone in to do it.
Yeah,
when
I know.
You tell someone not to do it, they're going to do it.
Yeah, that's fine, but it opens the door for me to say, "Go fuck yourself." So it's fine. you want to say PYT? I say GFY. There you go.
So you also even couldn't get it out. So you are literally like I said in the disclaimer, you can't do bullying or belligerence, and you're literally looking for excuses to fight the audience now. That's my job.
No belligerence from you, but belligerence from me is okay. And not you, I just mean the audience.
I don't think we should be beating up the audience. Besides, that's my job anyway. Song number 9, we're at the end of the album now. Before I get too aggressive on the audience, The Lady in My Life.
Oh, it's so nice. I like the general sound of this. Again,
it's the lady of the pretty young thing.
It is, maybe. It is, again, so yacht rock, R&B cross. There are so many songs. Pardon?
I wouldn't really say rock.
Well, it's something I would listen to if I had a yacht. And I've never heard the term yacht pop. So
yeah, you'd be listening to Glenn Frey, you fucking liar.
Glenn Frey's fine.
I'm saying he's yacht rock though. Him and Jimmy Buffett and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah, but Glenn Frey was in the Eagles, so he's fine.
Yeah, but just a pure butt fucking rock, yacht rock, whatever. Anyways.
I'd listen to Air Supply. That's fine. The bass sounds good. Again, for the 20th comment of this album, the bass, superb.
I mean, yeah, well, generally it's good all over the album because, yeah, especially with Motown, pretty good for bass. I mean, musicians are usually pretty spot on all over the place.
Yeah.
The R&B and funk and soul of like the 70s and 80s and everything like that, even into the 60s too. It's all pretty good. Just a sensual ballad to end the album. Originally I wrote not my ideal choice, but at the same time, like as I was just saying earlier, it kind of makes sense to kind of like you were coming down, PYT brought it back up a bit, and now you're kind of ending off on this. So that makes sense to me now looking back on it, but I can also see why I said it was my ideal choice. Like, not that you should go out on tons of energy, but at the same time, there's just something about this particular style of ballad that I don't know was the best ender. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Another one of those unsung things that I wanted to point out in this one, in the second verse, there's like this pizzicato type synth kind of going along with, once again, very airy composition. So it's just another texture that kind of stood out to me. Really like that kind of stuff because it gives more interest in the sound at the very least. So I do enjoy that.
I don't know if I really enjoy the song as a whole. Not really. I don't know if that's really indicative of my scoring, but I do like the music and the vocals for their execution. So I appreciate the music on its own. I like the vocals on their own, but together I'm kind of like, yeah, okay. It kind of left me desiring a little bit more. I would have enjoyed this song a little more if it had faded out after maybe 3 minutes. It felt like it was just a minute and a half of outro. It wasn't even an outro. It was just sort of, you're like, okay, like I get it. It's kind of like James Brown when they put that cape on him and then he's back again and then he's gone and then he's back again. I'm like, okay, we're fucking done. I have places to be. Thank you.
And then he says, hit me 3 times, and you hit that guy 3 times.
Oh,
You'll
my
kick your ass if you don't. You'll hit you if you don't.
It was a little too much at the end there. So I wrote that the rest sort of feels like extra auxiliary words in an essay to meet the word count. So that's kind of how I felt about the end. Don't hate it, don't love it. 8 out of 10 danceable in the red light district.
Really?
Yeah, you said sensual, so I figured that sort of.
You would dance on a window pole, or a pole inside of a window to this song in Amsterdam?
No, but while I was walking on the street outside of one, I'd go. great song. And then I'd keep going.
Specifically in the red light district. So if it was anywhere else, you're like, no, I'm not dancing to this shit.
Yeah, exactly.
At least the prostitute's kind of doing it.
Yeah, once I get out of that alleyway, then yeah, it's no more dancing. That's it.
But yeah, I do like the cool pop bass kind of. You were talking about the bass a little bit ago.
Yeah.
Love it in the latter half of the song. And I think it adds like kind of a bit of edge to the like impassioned performance by Michael. Because again, like softer vocals, but then towards the end, kind of given like more of an impassioned performance. So it was good to have that, and like just the bass on top of that really worked too. So yeah, a lot to enjoy about the ending at the very least. I say as the song fades, this should have made it a 10 out of 10 on my list. It didn't, but goddamn. As the song's fading, the very last thing you hear is the iconic Michael Jackson. Like it's the very last sound you hear as it's like. I went back and made sure, and I had a chuckle fuck about it. So and I was like, man, this is fitting. I love this. It's just too bad that didn't make a song 10 out of 10.
Oh dang, made it 9.5 instead.
It honestly had to just like the fact that it ended on that sound, like I don't know if that was planned. I don't know if that just happened to be the sound he made, like ad-libbing in the studio, because sometimes they'll go on for an extended amount of time,
and then
just fade the mix.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I don't know, how that worked out, but God, the last thing there's not even an instrument you hear, just I love it.
I'm gonna have to go back. There's a couple of these little nuances you picked up on that I haven't, and I have no problem going back and listening to these again.
I was going to say that's usually what I'm good at on the show, apparently. I find all the small things and talk about them.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And overall, I'd just say, like, for the entire album overall, since we're at the end of the album now, regardless of, like, as we kind of alluded to earlier, regardless of mine or anyone else's views on Michael Jackson, there is no denying how truly great and iconic this album really is.
I was aware of most of the songs on the album, and it is not hard. What the fuck? Sorry, my... 1 second.
She's being disingenuous with her notes.
Technical difficulties. Just like last week and probably the week before, Savannah does not know how to use commas. So when she reads, it sounds ridiculous. Okay, we're going to start this again. I was aware of most songs on this album. It's hard not to when 7 out of 9 songs are singles. They hold up just as well now as they have for the last 4 decades.
And I can't remember if I already mentioned this on the podcast or if I just told you off camera, but I was not aware that Billie Jean and Beat It were on this album. I thought there's like mid to late 80s. Did not know they were here.
Hell yeah. I knew Beat It solely because of Weird Al, and I knew that was around that era. But it's one of those, when you realize it, okay, it makes sense. But if someone were to have asked me, or if it was in some sort of trivia, there's no way I would have guessed that.
No, absolutely not. Well, then, that brings us to the end of Michael Jackson's Thriller. Wow, we made it all the way to the end of the episode. Hey, thank you for making it this far with us. And if you have, make sure you let us know what you think of the album down in the comments below, wherever you're listening, because there's comment sections everywhere. But don't worry, you can let us know more about what you think about the album, because now we move on to part 2. We got to rank the songs.
Yeah.
As per usual, this time there's not that many, only 9 apiece. So above our heads, boom, graphics have changed. Names and numbers, as I mentioned before, only 9 on each side. So that just makes me happy in editing, because it's just a little less work to do.
Do you have a number of matches that you assume we may get?
I don't feel like we're gonna get one this week.
I don't think so either.
Because I was looking at it and I was thinking about some, but even ones that I think are going to be close will not be a match. I think we're going to get some close ones.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're going to get a match.
I'm going to say one for optimism's sake, but honestly, I don't think we're going to get any other. Just listening to just the way that you were describing certain ones, I'm like, yeah, I don't see it.
Well, it's either time to be surprised or, I told you so to ourselves.
Right.
All right. So song number 9, Human Nature.
Baby Be Mine.
Baby Be Mine. Number 8, The Girl Is Mine. The girl is mine.
The Lady in My Life.
The Lady. Number 7 might be a shocker. Billie Jean.
PYT, Pretty Young Thing. Is what he thought of Billie Jean, probably.
Billie Jean's even mentioned in that first song, Want to Be Starting Something.
Oh, I didn't even
Very
notice.
briefly, like Billie Jean saying something, like something along the line of that. So She's just all over this fucking album, just being a huge bitch, isn't she? Song number 6, PYT.
The girl is mine.
The doggone girl.
I fucking hate that so much.
I know.
God.
Number 5, The Lady of My Life.
Number 5, Billie Jean.
Billy, not with a Y, Jean.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's 3 potentials for a match, but I just don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen. I'm not there. Number 4, Beat It.
Okay, good. Thank God.
Oh, we got one. All right.
Got one match.
Well, these are that kind of time where I'm fine with being wrong.
Yeah.
Not this one though. Number 3, Baby Mine. What? Baby Be Mine. I just don't write the word B. I just said Baby Mine. Baby
number
Mine.
3. Oh my God. I just am. Yeah. I imagine you dressed up like the Home Alone bandits and just grabbing
They're not
babies.
Neanderthals. Jesus.
Oh my God. They might be. Number 3, Thriller.
And I know what your number 1 is because it's my number 2. Want to be starting something?
No, that's my number 2. Want to be starting something?
Well,
that's fucked.
I was gonna say something very inappropriate.
No, I was more disappointed that your number 9 is my number 1.
Yeah, ew. Number 1, Thriller. I mean, I made that very obvious a while ago.
It's Human Nature. I like that song a lot.
And I'm not sorry.
Not that one. Please fucking get me out of this podcast. Please save me.
Oops, I didn't know we're gonna talk about sex. What was I thinking?
Wait, is that the video where it looks like a Hollywood Squares?
Kind of. It's like a futuristic, weird, gothic, cyber goth, like fucking white boxes and
yeah. So like they're dancing in Hollywood Squares and banging on the walls and stuff.
That's their analogy for actually banging each other.
I remember watching that video when I was younger, and it was one of those ones where it's like, I will get grounded if someone sees me watching this.
And you were young enough to not understand the feminist message, so you're like, why is she being so mean?
Yeah, right? Like, I don't get it.
Why is she being so rude about things?
I'm so glad we got 2 matches.
Yeah, I mean, we got something out of it, so I got to be happy. Actually, I got to make sure I check those off. So, yes, 1 and Billie Jean. No, Beat It. Okay.
Number 4 and number 2.
What are the odds at singles match? 7 out of 9 on the album. Wow. Anyways, well, I mean, we got 2 matches, so now let's see how close we get with the actual rating of the album, or the rating of the record, I should say. Look at me being off-brand. Anyways, transition screen, swoosh. Well, then, here it is, the album rating screen. As per usual, this is where we always end up at the end of the show, looking at everything that we've done in the past and all the B-tier mistakes that we've made and everything like that.
So many mistakes, man.
But also a lot of A-tier. I mean, kind of a lot of A-tier, almost at least 10. Wink, nudge. That's me.
I hate that. Like, I mean, it's true, and I thank you for exposing me to some good music, but Jesus Christ.
Well, I mean, it's a very bittersweet feeling, I guess.
I really hope that this is an A-tier and I get to knock one of yours off.
Hey, you never know, because I mean, like, we both talked a lot of good stuff about it, but watch it just fall just short. Oh my God.
Like 79.99. I'm like,
exactly.
No.
Just off.
Oh, God.
Story can't round up. But I mean, I guess we're going to find that out now.
Yeah. Yeah, you first, please.
Yeah, I suppose since you chose the album, huh? I will say this. I did my score. I was looking at it, and there's a potential that this is going to be an A-tier album. Because I'm thinking to myself, like, what are the odds? Like, what would we need to make sure this stays into like an A-tier? And I did the math, and so your score is going to, like, I'll know it before you do, though, at the very least. But I think, I think you will, depending on how high your score is. Anyways. Yeah. Anyway, I'm just rambling. Yeah. Mine actually came out pretty decently. I didn't know how I was going to score this album, but I knew I was going to enjoy it regardless. 78.88.
Okay, so let me do the math here. I'm actually not too sure. I don't have anything to preface this with other than this is an appropriate score. 82.11.
Okay.
I fucking hope it doesn't do the 79.
So did you say 82.11?
82.11.
82.11. So I did the math already on what we would need. To get into the A tier, we would need 81.12, which means with an 80.49, you've officially broken the top 10 and the A tier.
Oh my God. What was it? I was too busy yelling.
80.49.
Oh my God. 80.4. Holy shit. Okay. 80.49. That is better than the Tea Party.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Really?
So that is our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th.
You did it.
Oh my God. I thought I was just going to crack the top 10. I almost cracked the top 5.
Very close.
But I mean, it's not really me. I didn't write the fucking album. It's like the best-selling album in the world. What else did we
I didn't write 2112, but it's at the top of our fucking list.
That's true.
You chose it for the show, though. And I mean,
I'm right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even mad. I won't even talk shit about that. Like, you finally, 66 episodes later, got an A-tier album.
It is about time. I would like to thank my parents for birthing me and nothing else. I would like to thank Dr. Dre for
Did your dad get you into the music that you listen to?
For inventing beats. Yeah, but if I thank him for anything, he might see I owe him, so then I might have to give him like
as well.
Might like give him like a $10 bill or something. And I would like to thank Alex Trebek. Thank you.
For being alive at some point. And beats suck, by the way.
Shitting on my acceptance speech.
Because you're thanking all the wrong things.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Kris, for having me.
Thank you, Michael Jackson, Quincy Jones, for making this album. There you go.
Oh my God, that's awesome though.
I didn't have you. Excited. I can't give birth to anyone. Why would you say that? But yes, you got yourself an A-tier album. Look at you doing things. You're finally in the winner circle somewhat.
Thank you. I'd like to pop some bottles and sleep with models. Thank you.
Cool. You're going to have them lined up outside your door. And they're all fellow foot models since you have that OnlyFans thing going on. So that's what you're going to have to deal with.
Yeah.
That's all the content you get out of that. You get to play with foot models. Anyways, that's then. This is now. And we just finished rating another A-tier album. Oh my God. Yeah. That's not even, you did it. It's not me, so I can't say anything. But no, I'm legitimately happy for you. I mean, it's about damn time this happened. Like, I could brag all day and night about my shit, but like, you finally got it. There you go.
Oh my God. It's like, I keep coming in like 10th place. And now I finally got 4th place. I'm not enough to be on the podium, but it doesn't matter. I'm no longer 10th. So something to brag about.
But you're up in the top tier with the rest of us cool folks now.
I am. And I'm going to be the most awkward one that you guys wish weren't there. So excited.
I already deal with you on a weekly basis. I already know what to expect.
I don't take it back. I don't regret it.
Well, there you go. But anyways, that is the end of the episode. And there we go. We have another A-tier album. So thank you very much for joining us, hanging out, and finding out where this album landed in the A-tier. Surprise, surprise, I guess. I don't know. I kind of anticipated that was going to happen. I knew you were going to like the album. But anyways, we want to know what you thought of the album too. Did you A-tier? Did you B-tier? What'd you do with this album? Did you throw it in the trash? Did you God tier it? Let us know down in the comments of where you might be listening to audio or the video, obviously, or on social media. Doesn't really matter where. Leave comments because we're always curious to know. And all of the options that you would need to leave comments absolutely anywhere, ratetherecord.ca. Maybe we should put a comment form on our actual website. That'll really go to show how many people actually go to our website. Although I've seen the traffic, people do.
Hell yeah. Awesome. We got to get some AdSense in there for like penis enlargement pills right on the top banner, like they'd have in like GeoCities or Angel Fire. Just make it look terrible.
Even though we're just cutting back in now from our Ko-fi content because I had to go off on a little tangent there right at the end of the episode.
Oh my God, what a loopy episode.
This is the kind of shit that you get to hear if you join Ko-fi.com/ratetherecord. So I say go ahead and do it. We every episode has bonus content that goes on the Ko-fi now, so it's not just a barren wasteland of we'll do it eventually. No, there's actually content there. All of season 4 we've been doing it. We're going to keep doing it. So by all means, check it out. Ko-fi.com/ratetherecord. That, social medias, streaming links, album request link, and the album giveaway link, which this month I forgot to mention in the beginning, we are giving away Nirvana's Nevermind for February 2023. So make sure you put in your ballot for that, or ballot, I guess, fill out the form. Good luck. Regardless, all found at ratetherecord.ca.
Woo! Yeah.
I don't know how I forgot to mention the album giveaway in the beginning.
You're really just losing it. So, I mean,
Hell
that's
yeah.
fine. And to be quite honest, I didn't remember, or else I would have reminded you. So, I mean, we're both kind of dropped
I should
the
just
ball
have
here.
it framed behind me just so I know. It's like I can just point to it. It's like Nirvana right there. Although it's too.
Yeah, just like a big thing's just win me on it, like you'd actually see at a record store.
Oh, but the worst part about it is like it's that album cover, and I got to point to the baby dick every single time, and I don't want to do that.
Like you don't have to point to it. You could just put like a little emoji eggplant on it.
Do you think people would appreciate that more as a gift? Like if I just put like a little sticker over top of it?
I'm not 100% sure. I feel like someone's going to have a problem with anything. But I think the most people would have a problem with you pointing to a baby dick. So let's just not do that.
Blame Nirvana. Apparently that kid tried to sue them anyway. But anyways, we're again tangent. God, this episode's fucking tangent city.
So many.
There's a lot of shit going on COVID today. But once again, thank you very much for hanging out with us. Let us know what you thought of the album. But before we let you go, even though we're at the end, we do have to give you like a little sneak preview of what to expect next week as we are rolling along the month of February here. Next week, my choice, and I have choices next month too. I know that for a fact. Anyways, I couldn't really think of a hint because this artist isn't relatively super well known, but I will say that the artist that for this artist, Dallas Green of Alexis on Fire has gone on record saying, and I quote, "This artist raps better than most people speak." Yes, we're doing another rap artist next week.
Interesting.
And so, no, it's not just the mumble stuff. It's not Death Grips.
Okay, good. Oof. And thank God no mumble stuff.
This guy is super talented, and he actually has stuff that kind of sounds old school, too. So, like, I really like it. So
I like that. You keep saying that I might like Public Enemy. So I like some old sort of, I don't know, beginning stages of rap. So I'm excited for this one.
That's not next week, but maybe stay tuned for that. Ooh, who knows? Who knows when? Anyways, without giving away too much of our schedule, you can go ahead and guess what we're trying to do next week. But until then, go listen to some awesome music like Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Yeah.
And we will see you again real soon. So take care, friends.
Bye-bye.
You're supposed to do a special bye-bye because you have an 8-tier album.
Okay, bye-bye. Just make
I will literally cut that back. Like I will fade it to black and then cut that back in.